All right, let me move this and pull this up. I don't know how many people are going to pop in tonight or not, but we'll get started. So I am having a pop-up sale on my Etsy. It's 25% off all art and handmade watercolors if you spend $20 or more. It's from today through December the 9th. And my shop name is etsy.com/shop/Debbie Epps. Let me put that in the chat so we'll have that link. Basically, it's just going to be a flip through of the inventory that I have. And if anybody is interested in something, let me know. And I'll put your name on it. You can go over to Etsy and purchase it. I kind of group things by category so we could look at categories. I'll start with the acrylic pour art. Hi, Judy. So in the acrylic pour art section, I have a few small canvases left. And some, well, actually, I'm going to start with small canvases because some of them are under our acrylic pours, but they're under small canvas on the category. So I have this really cute set of 3 acrylic pours. They're 5x5, and this one has a little surfer on it. And I have this set at $30. So 25% off the 30, of course. And then there is shipping, which is not discounted. Hi, Lenny. Welcome. So I'm just going to set some of this aside. Like I said, I'm in the small canvases category. I have 2 lighthouses that are $20 each, and they are a 4x12 canvas. It's a mixed media. It's my printed papers, collaged and then embellished with India ink. So I have 2 of those. I have several of the 6x6 gallery canvases. Lighthouses, sea turtles. All of these are 25. Now, one of them, no, they all flip now. I had changed, there were some price changes on them. They're just assorted. Most of them are on acrylic pour backgrounds. So there's this one's got a really pretty pour, and it's just got the 3D letters that say shine. Then I have this one in blue and green with embellishment and the word hope. Little sea turtle. A lighthouse. A stack of teacups with a butterfly. A little Asian pagoda type thing with a butterfly also. A really pretty purple and green pour that says gracious. If you're from Fort Worth or the Texas area, you're familiar. This is one of our colleges here, TCU, Texas Christian. I'm trying to set some of this stuff out of the way as we look at it. Wish, and this one says grow. And then these 2 are more abstract. These 2 are one of my favorite pours. And this is an acrylic skin. Then I have some little 5x7s that are a collage. This one's got a little boy and his lamb. A brother and a sister putting a sailboat. They're all vintage black and white photos. This one's got like a little French postcard and the words joy. And those are just, they're all finished on the side. Have hangers on them ready to hang. Those run $25 as well before the discount. And then I have a couple smaller 6x6 that are kind of vintage, more like fashion oriented. On these, all of the girls are hand cut and then painted with India ink on top of a collage background. This one's got like a little floral on it. Hi, Shauna. And then this one's just a little collage again with some vintage ephemera. And then the last but not least small canvas is a little acrylic pour with octopus on it. And that is it for the small. And this one may not even be listed in the small canvases. It may be in the acrylic pour. All right, so let's go ahead and switch to the acrylic pours. And I'll show you the acrylic pours that I have. Now, these are mostly unembellished acrylic pours. I have a couple of the smaller 5x5, and they're in like reds and green and blue and yellow, your primary colors. Then these are, I have two of the 5x7, and they're more in of a burgundy with teal and some yellow and green. Hi, Linda. Okay, these are 10x10s that I just did, and they're in a collection, and you just pick it by the photograph if you're interested. They're all in the same kind of colors. This one's a dark turquoise, a light teal, a hunter green with some cells in white and yellow. This one is got the hunter green with magenta and the teal and some of the white and the yellow. These look a lot like satellite photos. This one's got more of a line. It's a blue with the hunter green's gone a little bit gray in this one, and there's white with the teal and the yellow. Now this one looks like it's potted, but it's all the cells. So there's magenta, yellow, a light teal, and some blue. And this one has a lot of cells in it, which gives it some texture. Hi, Vicki. This one is a blue with the yellow. I kind of think this one almost looks like a sea turtle. I almost went ahead and embellished it. And it's blue with the turquoises and the yellows and the green. And there's a little magenta in there. And this one is the dark and the light teal with the yellow, the white, and just a small hint of the magenta in a few places. And this has got some good cells also. And cells are what you call those little circles that come from the using the silicone oil. Right, so now I'm going to move into the 8x10s in the acrylic pour. Like I said, this is just like a journal flip through is all I'm really doing. You can go on Etsy and everything is listed in Etsy. I tried to keep the prices fairly similar. Most of these 8x10 canvases run $50. So I'll just kind of flip through these. I'm actually going to turn them sideways. I think it'll. So this one's got some lavender, green, and gray with some black. This one has got lots of colors in it. It's one of my favorite ones. It's got blue and magenta and a couple teal and some green in there with some brown. Reminds me of a swamp or an ocean. And it's got really good cells. This one's a little softer. It's got a lavender, purple, brown, some teal, and some yellow. Again, has a kind of an ocean beach feel. This one is bright pinks with some white and some copper kind of colors in here. This one even has a little quote. It's orange and green with pinks and white, and it says one of a kind. Hi, Jen. We're just flipping through. We're just doing like a flip through. Everything's listed on Etsy, and my Etsy is under Debbie Epps. I listed it at the top of the chat. So this one's greens, light greens, dark greens, some orange and some white. And it says, learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. This one is a couple shades of green with some pink and orange and black. This reminds me of like a Hawaiian beach. And it's got some song lyrics down in the corner that says, the taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours beat. I fell for you like a child, but oh, the fire went wild. Some more of the purples and the burgundy with quite a bit of movement in this one. This one is the pink with some brighter orange and pink and some gold, and that is a metallic gold that's in there. And there's even some purples. There's, if you get close up, you can see the cells. Yeah, I'll do overseas. I tried to put it on there. If it's not on there or you have questions, just contact me in a conversation on Etsy. For any of you who are watching the video that are local, don't just click buy because it'll charge you shipping. Contact me and I'll make arrangements if you're in Fort Worth. And we'll make arrangements to meet so that it doesn't charge you shipping. But I have shipping set up for the US and everywhere else. And it shows you when you look at the listing what the shipping is. But if I did not put shipping on there for overseas, just contact me and I will. All right, so this one is teals and silver and gold, and this silver is metallic and this gold is metallic in here. And again, full of cells. I also will take an acrylic pour and do an embellishment, a custom embellishment if there's something that you want. These just haven't been embellished. And I'll show you some embellished ones in a little bit. So if there was something that you wanted, just again, contact me on Etsy and say, I want this background, but I want to do this. And we'll have a conversation. This one's got gold and yellow with some darker greens and some black. This one is got gold, yellow, and there's some teals and black, and it is a metallic gold that's in there. And this one is all metallics. This is really a pretty one. It's got like a silvery blue metallic and a copper gold with a background of black. And there's a little bit of some teal green in there. All right. So let me move those. And I'll show you some embellished pours. We'll be just about through all the canvases. All right, so this is the 10 by 10 canvases. This is a different type of pour. It's the PBO Fantasy Paint, which is an enamel. And I added collage elements and stencil work. It's on a black canvas. There are actually 2 of them that go together, but they can be purchased separately. So long absent, soon forgotten. It's kind of got butterflies, a gilded fern. This one has a crane. It kind of has an Asian feel, a butterfly over here. It says together and beauty on, you can actually read on that part of the stencil. So those 2, like I said, were poured at the same time and are a set, but can be purchased separately. This one is a mermaid, and she is hand cut, and then it's my printed papers and embellished with acrylic inks and painted all with acrylic inks. And then there's a moon and the quote that says, "Live in the water, loved by the moon." And the background is all purple and silver metallic on a pour. This one is not a pour canvas, but it's very similar looking. This is grunge paste, so there's a 3D texture to it. And a piece of scrapbook paper made to look like the coast of Texas, a lighthouse. And this is magical inks that have been floated on the canvas. And this one reminds me of the lighthouse in Galveston and the Texas coast. Just incidentally how the paper tore. And the last 2 are pours. And these pours, this one's got a sailboat and a sun, and it's more abstract in nature. And it's got blues and peach and some dark blue and some green, and then some little bits of black here and there. This one's a more traditional pour with blue and green, and it's got a lighthouse. And these are all 10 by 10 canvases. And most of this is under the mixed media canvases or acrylic pour category. I have a lot under mixed media in various sizes and price points. So this one is a 12 by 12. This is kind of a, her name, Tomlinson. I can't think of her first name right now, in that kind of she art style. But it's all of the clothes are cut, and the little girl and all of this is cut and hand painted in India ink. There are chipboard letters and ephemera in the background. And it says laundry time. This one is a very similar also. The boy and the girl are hand cut, and they're painted with India ink on top of a collaged ephemera background. And they're 12 by 12. The next 2 are actually canvas boards, but they're 2 of my favorites. This one is a collaged background with my printed papers, napkins, a doily, and then the bear is done in acrylic paint and colored pencil. To me, this is kind of almost like a modern Christmas. And it says, baby, it's cold outside. Magic and merriment. It's a wonderful life. And it's got a real metallic bow. So really all it needs to be is in like popped in a black 11 by 14 frame. And hello to those of you who came in, Kimberly. And then this one also, I think, has a Christmas feel. It is also a collage of napkins and my papers with a quote and a dog that is done. It's a chocolate lab, and he's done with a acrylic paint, then colored pencil, and then acrylic ink. And he's collaged on there. And it's snowing. Again, pop this in like an 11 by 14 frame, and that's all this really needs. All right, now, I think a couple of these are not listed. These are 11 by 14 canvases. And if they're not listed and you're interested in something, just send me a message. So this is an acrylic pour with a collage and hand-painted lighthouse on the cliff. This is a TCU piece with he's hand-cut and painted with ephemera for TCU. These are all 11 by 14. And I have two of these that are similar but different for the TCU Frog fans. This one is just a collage of Coca-Cola and scrapbook papers, but you just gotta love, and then I've tinted the photograph. Thank you, Lynn. This one is she art. In fact, it's when I first started doing Christy Tomlinson. That's who I was trying to think of. It's when I first started watching her videos and doing mixed media. She doesn't have a face, but she's not supposed to. And it says, surround yourself only with friends who are going to lift you higher. And it kind of has a Cajun swamp, Southern sort of, there's flowers. It says Louisiana State Lottery. This is also sheet art. I'm not sure this one is listed on my Etsy. And she's hand cut and painted again, no face because it's sheet art. And it says, a single rose can be my garden, a single friend, my world. And it's all in pinks and yellows. And these are all 11 by 14. This one is a 1930s bathing beauty, and she's hand cut and painted. She does have a face. It's when I started adding faces. There's also a metallic paint, and she's in copper and turquoise. And it says, you never cross the ocean unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. This one was when I started my Look Back at Across the Decades project, and this was one of my first pieces. So this is a girl from a color book, and this is all hand-pieced jelly printed house on a stenciled background. And again, like I said, this may not be listed. Just if you're interested in one of these, just contact me. Yeah, it's yeah, I will put the Etsy again in here. May not show up as a link. Last time it didn't. Thanks, Shauna. And then this last 11 by 14, these are all hand cut and painted. You did use the faces from the original pieces, and it's on a collage and it says the dating game. Remember that game when you would go and you would play the game, you'd open the little door. Sort of think of it like a flip through of a journal. All right, the next size is 9 by 12. And again, this is a more vintage flair on most of this. This is an Asian. You'll recognize there's that same little pagoda, and she's hand cut, and it's Tahitian type. It's in coral and rose. This one is a Chicago theme. If we have anybody out there from Chicago, she's supposed to be like a 1940s when women first started going to work and having careers. She is hand cut and hand painted in India ink. And then all of the ephemera in the background has to do with Chicago, and the map is from Chicago. This one is based on the good old summertime and some costumes from a movie. I don't even, might have been Mary Poppins was the inspiration. They are hand cut and painted. And then there's some ephemera from like the fairgrounds and that idea of like you would go to the fair during the late 1800s. The next two are a pair, but again, can be sold separately. I was working with black canvases. And so Anicia Gray is the artist that inspired these. And she does all white and monotone on black, but I did pops of color. So it's all vintage ephemera with white stencil work. And then my pop of color on these two were reds and yellows. And this pink is an iridescent pink. And these are all 9 by 12 canvases. Yeah, if you just put Debbie Epps, you will find it. I don't know why it's not linking, though Etsy was acting up earlier tonight. All right, so the next group is 8 by 10 canvases. And I have a lot of those. It's a great size to work in. You have enough room to do a composition, but not so small. There we go, Shauna, thank you. All right, so this is an acrylic pour with a mermaid, sorry. And she has kind of a grayish turquoise hair. And it says, "Not all who wander are lost." This one is for us March babies. It's a pair of koi fish. And I labeled it Pisces, and it's on an acrylic pour. The fish are cut out, and it's underpainted with acrylic, and then colored pencil, and then India ink, and the end to give it depth. This one is a crane, a great blue heron, and it's on an acrylic pour. And the pour is kind of subtle, but it's blue and green, and there's a lot of cell. So it's sort of swampy. This one is a kingfisher in pink on an acrylic pour. It looked like he was in the rainforest. And this one is a purple peacock on an acrylic pour that's vivid pink, orange, and yellow. Like I said, the sale is 25% off any purchase that is $20 or more. That includes if you want to order a custom pet portrait. The discount also would apply. If you want to order a custom something else, start a conversation with me and I'll prepare a link if there's something else that you wanted that was custom. This one is a crab that is hand cut and painted with India ink on top of a turquoise and gold background. This is another pair from that series that I was working with, the black canvases. This time I've got white stenciling and vintage exercise and about corsets, and there's some hibiscus flowers, and lime green and pink are my pops in this one. And again, they are a set, but I will sell them individually as well. This one is just a metallic paint background where all the paint is blistered with some ephemera, and the little girl is hand cut and painted with India ink. And it says, "Oh, the laugh of a child so wild and free is the merriest sound in the world to me." And it says, "Laugh longer, live louder." And this is another little girl in the rain on an acrylic pour, and she's playing in a puddle and has abandoned her umbrella. She is hand cut and painted with India ink. And it says, "Spring is in the air, the promise of all things made new." Yes, it is. I'll make sure when we're done that I'll put that you can embed it. This is a collage of a vintage photo of a boy and his dog, and I made him fishing off of a pier. All right, and our last set of 8x10 canvases. This one is a Hawaiian influence, and it's a collage with napkins and a vintage music paper, and then she is hand cut and painted. And there's says, "All flowers remind me of you," and there's some a photograph, some ephemera of some World War II sailors. This one is the women in like the 30s and 40s and how they always wore hats and gloves. And so it says, "Keep calm and wear a hat." And all of the ephemera in the background has to do with wearing hats and gloves and ladies dressing up to have lunch. And it has kind of a 1940s or 30s vibe with the paper patterns that I chose. This one is a 11 kind of fire, and he's all hand cut and painted. And there's a fireman's poem and some ephemera. This one is another vintage photo of a little girl checking the mail. I kind of think at Christmas that maybe she's mailing a letter to Santa. And the photo is then tinted. This one is early 1900s when women first started riding bikes. And there's some quotes and the lady's etiquette, and she's going in uncharted territory, and she's all hand cut and painted. Disco pink split screen kind of thing. It does not do it on my end, so it's really hard for me to know. And I could stop the stream and it'll continue. This is a watercolor with metallics, and it's purple. There's iridescent metallics in here with pinks and golds, and the lighthouse is added on top. This is an African sunset with a silhouette of giraffes collaged, and we did this one on stream as well in watercolor. These are more abstract. This is the jelly print that has been collaged and created into an abstract. Good, good. I'm glad. This is a pick 6 that Eileen made me do. So it's on Yupo, and a lot of it is paint and inks, and then we wiped back, and then we stenciled, and there's just several layers. Or is it actually a pick 3? It's when we were only doing pick 3. And it's got a French quote about let the good times roll. This is alcohol inks, an abstract in kind of burgundy and green with some lavenders and some blue where the ink separated. This is a mixed media gilded fern. This was a pick 6 that went way wrong, and then we saved it by scraping layers of paint and adding the gilded ferns. This is jelly prints that have been quilted to look like quilt squares. And this is the same kind of thing. It's an assortment of jelly prints that have been assembled quilt-like. And that's kind of a gray, sparkly background. This is an abstract jelly print with some embellishments called Lunchtime. And there's actually about 3 of them in this series that have different, similar but different color. This one's more purple and copper. Talks about more about recess. And it was ugly scrapbook paper that we... This is in honor of Eileen. It's a pink flamingo piece. It's a collage and jelly print. This is a collage of jelly printed papers and ephemera with the quote, "Dare to dream." I think this would be a pretty one in a kitchen or somebody's first apartment, a young girl. This is the one, this is not listed. This is the one we did last night that was a jelly print that is a primitive landscape done on the jelly plate. I will be listing this. I just haven't listed it yet. So that's kind of it for the landscapes and the abstracts. Let's do the marine floral type, or what I consider marine florals. They're still an abstract. These are watercolor and jelly prints with pen work on top of a jelly paper. A seahorse collage on top of vintage music paper from the love story. This is another marine collage with just different papers and pen work on a black, blue black. It's a metallic blue black. This one is the same kind of thing. These are metallic watercolors and pen work. Thank you, Deborah. This is jellyfish on a background of red and teal with some pen work. This is metallic watercolors on Yupo with a mermaid added on top that's done in India ink. These I have sealed so that they're not going to move on the Yupo. This is a jelly printed, what I call a blackout style, and it's on vintage music paper, and I have 3 of them in different colors. This one's kind of a pink and green, and it says, ready for the times to get better on music paper. This one is kind of blues and greens, and there's actually some texture in this background. It's not a solid black. It's got some metallic. This one is some kind of like coral pink and teal, and that's a hand-cut seahorse stencil. These are some of the vintage girls, not on canvases, but flat. And this one is, I call it the color of purple. And it's on a jelly print. She's all hand cut and painted. This one is from a costume from one of the movies, Dr. Zhivago, I think, Katerina, and she's all hand inked on a jelly print. These are all originals, not prints. This is a portrait, a modern portrait of Rosie the Riveter. It's all colored pencil on a collaged background. Yeah, most of these are on videos. Now, this is not listed, but it is also done with Neo 2s. And if someone's interested, I'll be more than happy. It is from a vintage Etsy Lauder ad. And I will show you, ironically, I saw the other day the original that I had done when I was in 7th grade. And there's the original drawing from the 7th grade from the magazine. I had found these. My parents had put them up and given them to me from when I was in the 7th grade. And this right here is also not listed on Etsy, but if somebody's interested, just let me know. It was in one of those like draw my portrait type things, or an advertisement for something in a magazine. And it is done in Neo 2s and India ink. All right, we are nearing the end. All right. So this is just a mixture. It's mostly animals, and there's some holiday in here. And this is the last stack of this. Then I have a few other little things I can show you. We're getting close to the... this is a vintage music paper, and it is a colored pencil. It is a cardinal on a branch, and the snow, it all glitters. This is also vintage music paper with a hummingbird and floral done in colored pencil. This we did just recently, and we used ink tints. We did a little blue or gray bird on a winter branch on music paper that said evergreen. These are Xander's Crazy Birds, and it's just a trio of birds. I call it Party of 3, and it's all done in watercolor. Yeah, I think the cardinal is very Christmassy, but you could leave it up all year. This is an American Robin, and it's on a piece of music paper that says Bad Bad Leroy Brown, and it is watercolor. This is, I've got 2 of these. These are nutcrackers. I didn't even know what category to put them in, so they're with the whimsical animals. They are paper pieced from jelly prints and then India ink, and have jewels. It's hard to see the details. The photos on, but it's all, like all the pieces of their clothes are hand pieced, and then their faces are painted in India ink. All right, now we're into what I kind of am known for, which is my bunnies. So these are themed hairs. They're the same, but they have themes and different names. This is Frankie. He's a Halloween boy bunny. We just did this one not too long ago, is Miss Penelope in pinks, and she's done in metallic watercolors that I made and has an embossed background. This one is Aquamarine, and she's in turquoise and purples in a bronze matte. This one is Olivia, and all of these are jelly printed papers that I've printed. And she is in a metallic purples and greens with some blue, and she's in a sterling silver matte. This is Penny. She's in greens and coppers with a cobalt blue. Yes, my watercolors are also on sale. I'll show those in just a minute when we're through with the art. This is Maggie May. She's kind of a rainbow of colors on a bright yellow background. This is Ruby Jane. She's in pinks and yellows, and she's in a copper matte. This is David Bowie, and he has die cutouts in the background, and he's bright greens and orange and pink. He's got a washi bow. This is Shell, and she's on a nautical background of all shells and has a starfish, and she's in pinks and coral and green colors. This is another one of my favorite bunnies. This is Monsieur Louis, and he is in teal and burgundies on a metallic background. This is Bartholomew, is another Halloween bunny, a boy bunny. He's got bats as his theme. This is Stella Luna. This is the one we did the other day, and she has kind of a galaxy in her ears. And there's all these little sparkly stars. And then she's got a background of purple and pink and copper. This one came off when we were doing the Alice in Wonderland. It's kind of a bonbon theme with musical. It's La Madeleine, like the restaurant where you go get the French pastries. And there's a little napkin with bonbons all there. So she dreams of treats. This is Warren. He's in peach and greens with a dark black metallic, like a gunmetal gray matte. All right, this is a jelly printed giraffe that's matted. This is China Blue. She's a watercolored cat on a pumpkin with a starry background that glitters. This is a Baylor bear named Joy that is all watercolor and jelly printed papers. This is just a whimsical collage with an elephant image that I liked. This is a jelly printed dog. It's a Cocker Spaniel. I actually have a couple of these that are not in a mat that are also available. This is a watercolored frog. A squirrel with the jelly prints. And this is an example of dog portraits. This is acrylic paint and colored pencil. And this one's an embellished matte. But that's also listed on my Etsy, just a custom pet portrait. All right, so let me put that. These are some things that are unmatted, so they're in assorted categories. Some of them may or may not be listed. This is from the quilt series. They're 2 6x12. They just need to be put in 6x12 frames. This was an order that ended up getting canceled. She's not listed, but I will sell her. She's like a little female puppy with the flowers. a jelly printed beach house, a collage, a giraffe, a vintage collage. It's another kind of vintage mixed media collage. Mixed media collage. This is one of my girls with this like a 1950s theme. This is another watercolored bear, just not Baylor. Some more giraffes. This is another hand cut stencil. And when I first started jelly printing, this is also a giraffe collage. One of my girls, a giraffe. One of my girls. Some of these are from the Across the Decades. A collage, a jelly printed elephant, a collage, a giraffe, just a embellished jelly print on music paper, another dog on a jelly print, a Cocker Spaniel, another girl. Hopefully you can stop the video and then like email me if there's something in here that's not listed. Some of these are listed, some are not. An A&M Reveille, another dog. I know the 3 dogs are all listed together. A bright colored elephant. These are all elephants. I know they are not listed. Another giraffe, seahorse, giraffes. And I'm pretty sure all the giraffes are listed. This dog is not listed. Giraffe, a seahorse. A collage, a watercolored sheep, a dog. I don't think this one's listed. TCU. These are unmatted watercolors. And they were done on stream too. A Greek windmill. A penguin. An abandoned barn and windmill. A cherry blossom tree with a bench overlooking like the water. Wow, I didn't even know I had this. A rooster collage. That's not listed. I know the rooster's not listed. Some of this I make right before art shows and I don't list. And then I come back and I forget I didn't list it. This is also all hand cut and the house is all paper pieced. And the last bit of art that I'm going to flip through are some jelly prints. Almost all these jelly prints are on camera. Well, actually, some of them are. I actually have some prints of old work, but they're not listed. So I have jelly prints that are in 5x7 size, that are in 8x10 mats, and they are listed. These are all listed. All of the jelly prints, they're usually listed in collections by color family. And you can see and go through and just tell me which one you're interested in. So there's vintage map paper with stenciling, pinks and greens, kind of more of a masculine feel. On a lot of them have music paper or patterns, ephemera, collage pieces on top. This is metallic paints in pink. This is one of my favorite ones. It's all metallic pink and copper. A lot of teals and copper. And I know I'm going through these fast. These are all listed. This is metallic green. Some of these are old prints. They're not listed. And so that's the end of the art. Let me show you the watercolors. And that will be kind of it. So one of the sets that I've made is called In the Vineyard. And it has a sage green, a leaf, which is it's kind of a gray green, a leaf green, night, which is a purplish blue, a grape, a burgundy, and a rose. Now, I will be honest, when you buy a set, there are 6 in the set, but I almost always throw in a few extra half pans, 1 or 2. And these are normally 40. And the In the Vineyard colors are swatched on black, just so that here's the grape, the burgundy, the rose, the sage, and the leaf, and the night on black. They're in the can on white. I also have a blush, a sunset, and a sunrise. I have individual pans of these that work well also with those colors. They were all inspired by like the vineyards of Italy. And I have for 5 sets of the In the Vineyard, and I have those listed as individuals too. Now there are some of the colors in the set that I do not have individually any longer, like the night. The first set that I did is called By the Sea. And these are all shimmery watercolors. And it has kelp, which is a green, sky, which is a blue, sea, which is an aqua, jellyfish, which is a pink, anemone, which is a burgundy, and sand, which is kind of almost like a bronze color. I only have 2 sets of the In the Sea. And I do have some of the extra colors for that one. I have some kelp. I have 1 kelp left individually. I do have some sky and some sea individually. I have the anemone individually. The sand. I have an additional color called Storm that is in that set also. That is, actually, that's the jellyfish. I don't think I have any of the anemone anymore. I think I'm out of that. And so that I have individual pans, and I have 2 of those sets. And all of the watercolors shimmer. They're all made with watercolor medium from Natural Pigments, which includes gum, Arabic, honey, and glycerin. The other ones that I have that are new is I started a collection that was inspired by Doris Day. And I had those swatched. So there's kind of a goldish yellow color. Here, let me just swatch them for you. And these were kind of, like I said, inspired by Doris Day. There is an aqua. These are just listed as individuals. Can actually get a bigger. There is kind of a gold and yellow. Which is that right here. There is kind of a coppery bronze, and then there's sort of a silvery, it's got a glitter in it. And this one's got more of a copper. This one's more of a chocolate brown. One is mink, and one is more of a copper. And then there's also this silvery color. So there's actually 5 colors in the collection. This yellow, a turquoise, a silver, kind of a glittery copper, and a mink color. The individual pans are regularly $8. So there'll be 6 on sale. And that was pretty much, like I said, I have several of the individual pans ready to go. I just did not list these as a collection. I was going to do another color with it, and I never did. So this is kind of the Doris Day collection. There's the ocean themed collection. And then there is the vineyard themed collection. A couple of these colors I don't have available in singles. There's a few like Night and Rose I don't think I have in singles anymore. So for those of you watching in YouTube, if you saw anything that you're interested in, the sale is 25% off any sale of $20 or more. It goes from now to December the 9th. The sets are 40. So when you look at the sale, when you apply the sale to it, they're 30 on sale. They're normally 40. And like I said, I almost always throw in some extra. There's 6 that come in it, and I almost always throw in. And this dark mark that you see is black marker, just to show you the opacity in the swatch. And I'll bundle if you're interested in a set and you contact me, or if you're interested in making your own set of 6. Let me know. I think it comes out to like $6 an individual pan of the sale. But if you're going to buy more, 6 or more, let me know, because basically you're getting you're paying for 5 and getting 1 free. And I tend to throw in, on all the sales I've done, I've always thrown in an extra half pan, typically. And they're all shimmer. They're all made with mica powders in the watercolor medium. The pans are labeled so you know which color. And I wrap them in a foil so that and then I put a little piece of they won't slide around when I mail them. I put something in there. And all of the sets I have swatched out for you in the top so you can see on the white. So the sets are 40 and the pans are 8, the individual pans. So with the sale, the sets are 30 and the individual pans are 6. Also, I was going to tell you, if Etsy is a problem, and you can let me know, we can also use my PayPal. That's my email address that I'm using for the PayPal. Did anybody have any questions? Shauna, did it do any of the pink? I know it had some buffering for people, but did it do any of the split screen, rolling screen at the bottom? That turquoise is much prettier than it showed up. Good, good. So then my rendering should be okay. So thanks for hanging out tonight. The sale goes through December the 9th. If you're interested in something and you're international, let me know. And if we need to check on the shipping or something, we can. And for my fibs, I will probably stream Thursday sometime, maybe. I don't know what our plans are and what we're doing right now. I would say we're not doing anything specific. Yes, the sale is from today through December 9th, 25% off. When you go on Etsy and you go to my shop, when you go in, you can search by categories. So if you're interested in handmade watercolors, it's all right there. It tells you that it's eligible to get a 25% off discount. The code is Cyber 2018. The code is Cyber 2018. The code is Cyber 2018. So the coupon code, I don't know if you need the coupon code anymore. It shows it differently. But that's the coupon code. So for those of you watching the playback, my Etsy is under Debbie Epps. It's 25% off all $20 or more sales. It's Cyber 2018. If you saw something in the video and you can't find it in the store, send me a conversation and I will list it or find it for you. The sale ends on 12/9. And as Shauna said, it's time to lighten the inventory. I had over 140 items listed. I didn't realize I had so many. And then that doesn't count all of the things that are like multiple, like some of the pours have 6 for one listing. They're counting it one time, but there's actually 6. So I have lots of inventory. Hopefully you found something maybe that you could use as a gift. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream.